Good evening and welcome to Newsbite. I'm Andrew Turner and making the headlines. Emergency services take part in a major incident exercise. Obtaining an entry permit into Ascension becomes nigh on impossible for some. Ship brings man for medical attention. Another saint promoted to top position in government. And rough seas cause cruise ship to cancel visit. A major incident exercise took place on Wednesday. The scenario involved a major road traffic accident on the Hall Road. In the incident, two minibuses had collided on the Hall Road over 1 kilometre up from Rupert's. One vehicle was travelling up, the other coming down in the opposite direction. Reports from SHG also indicated that a car was involved. Over 20 people were involved in the incident, and from the scene at the hospital it was obvious that there were some serious injuries. The incident concluded just after 1 p.m. and was followed by a full debrief at 3 p.m. Travel to Ascension Island is a near necessity for St. Helenians, with it being only one of 2 locations that people can currently travel to directly from the island. However, in this week's Sentinel it was revealed that a lack of availability of travel insurance, which covers pre-existing medical conditions, may hinder travel for a significant number of people on the island. Any travel through Ascension requires an entry permit to be granted by the Ascension Island government. For people transiting through the island or visiting as a tourist, the permit states that you must have medical insurance prior to arrival, which covers the cost of medical treatment on the island. It is understood that these requirements have only been implemented recently. Most insurance companies providing travel insurance specifically exclude any pre-existing conditions. This includes the policy from Solomon & Company, the only insurance provider on St. Helena. This leaves saints with no other choice than to seek a specialist UK insurance provider that will cover them from St. Helena. However, this option is only open to people who have access to a credit card or UK bank account. A pre-existing condition can refer to any illness that existed before the date of the insurance. This means that if people suffer from cancer or diabetes, they will need to find insurance off-island. The Solomon & Company Insurance Office told us that they are exploring options which can be adapted to the new requirement laid down by AIG. According to the Health Directorate, 17% of the St. Helenian population has diabetes, and until a solution is reached, these people, along with any others with pre-existing conditions, will find it difficult to get an entry permit for travel to Ascension. The TheENV Necklace arrived in James Bay on Tuesday, the 11th of April, to drop off a sick crew member to receive medical treatment on island. The ship is a Cyprus-flagged large bulk carrier built in 2012. It's 229 metres in length, over twice the length of the RMS, and has a top speed of 17 knots. The vessel remained in the bay for most of the day and departed around 5 p.m. Derek Henry has been promoted to become the new Director of the Environment and Natural Resources Directorate, ENRD. Derek will now be responsible for managing the strategic direction of the Directorate, which will include reviewing the activities of all ENRD departments, including environmental management, agriculture and natural resources, and all government landlord housing. He will also be ultimately responsible for the delivery of the SHG infrastructure programme. When ENRD was first formed, Derek took on the role of Deputy Director and has been working there for the last 3 years. Derek has said that he'll be overseeing some reorganisation of the Directorate and that will help them manage future projects to develop the entire ENRD service. For the vast majority of last week, St. Helena was experiencing severe heavy swell conditions. Even though these conditions were meant to settle towards the end of the week, it was forecasted that there would be more swells throughout the weekend. Swell conditions were just as heavy at Rupert's, and the public were also reminded to take care in the beach, shears and wharf areas. The rough seas also meant that the cruise ship MV Astor had to cancel her stay as they could not bring their 498 passengers ashore. Instead, the vessel cruised around the island before continuing her journey to Las Palmas. Well, that's it for this week's Newsbite, but remember you can still keep up to date with all the latest news in the Sentinel and by tuning in to SAMS Radio. As was announced in the Sentinel 2 weeks ago, next week we will be broadcasting our last Newsbite. But until then, I'm Andrew Turner, and thank you all for watching.